And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It is Monday, 22nd September 2025. Hope you are having a good day. Hope you had a good weekend. And for those, tomorrow is Rosh Hashanah, leading into Yom Kippur. For those who celebrate, happy, and healthy holiday. Happy New Year to all who will celebrate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is serious talk on everything that affects you. We'll do the markets, the economy, your job, your industry, and everything that affects it. And by the way, there's a lot of things affecting it. As usual, I get more emails these days on other things because there's so many other things that are going on. We'll do a little bit of that, and boy, oh boy, I'm going to take somebody on today. You'll get the idea when I get there. And if you do not get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. It'll also be on our X feed. And if you don't follow us on X, you should. Just put our name in. If you'd like to email us, just be nice. And again, very important, if you don't get this radio show in your city, again, GaryK.com, BizTV YouTube channel, a bunch of podcast apps, and we got a few other things up our sleeve as we move forward, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and if you email me, just be nice. If you like Hamas, don't email me. I want to get right into it. So, we have posed the question in the markets on whether we're going to get some sort of 1999 move in the artificial intelligence space. That some of the things that have been going on are reminding me of way back then. I wrote to my peeps this weekend about it. I added up, and by the way, none of this is about you buying, selling, shorting, or covering. None of this is about bearishness or bullishness. We're just stating some things, and we just want to keep it in our file manager. So I have said to you a bazillion times throughout the years, be careful. Be careful of no-sales companies, because when it's all said and done and the music stops, they all crash. But in the meantime, they can go much higher. And recently and to today, nuclear stocks, drones, robo-taxis, quantum computing. There is a crap load of companies that have no sales. Some of them have been public, trading for 20 years with no sales, yet their stocks have lit up like a pinball machine as of recent. And I added it up this weekend, and when I say I added it up, believe me, I did not touch the surface, but I pretty much counted $50 billion of market cap in these areas with no sales. Now let me repeat that again. No sales. I'm looking at one right now that says engages in the development and commercialization of next generation nuclear fuel technology. Terrific. It has been public, and we are not making this up, since 2000. 25 years of no sales, and it's been able to stay a public company in business. They still have no sales. They're still losing money. And in the last 2 days, the stock has gone from 15 to 20. A year ago, it was 3. No, not kidding. The high of it all time was 4,000. No, we're really not kidding. They must have done a bazillion reverse stock splits. So we're just letting you know. It's still going on. Today I saw some of these nuclear stocks, one of the strongest ones, open up down 13 or 14, finished up 5. No sales. But they say they're going to, and they probably will. But as I look at it, it has a $21 billion market cap. $21 billion. And I can go on and on. We're just letting you know a lot of things that we are seeing right now remind me of 99. Buy at any price because it's on the move, and make it. I know some very good O'Neill type, fundamental type people that are on social media touting no sales companies when they would never do that. Getting caught up in, and let me repeat, they're probably going higher. You never know where they stop. We're just letting you know, just keep it in your file manager, because when the music stops, by precedent, if nothing changes, remember those words, if nothing changes, they're all going to crash. And I mean crash. 90s. So just letting you know. And again, they look higher. I'm seeing some drone stocks. Drones. I am seeing, let's see, here's one. Quantum computing. $8.2 billion market cap. The stock just went from 18 to 28 in the last 5 days. It was 72 cents a year ago. They have no sales. Buy at any price. $8.2 billion market cap. Again, we're not here to rip on the companies. I'm sure they're all trying to become great. We're just letting you know, always, eventually, valuations are going to matter. And we're letting you know it's getting, what's the word? It's getting more frothy. I'm seeing dollar stocks in the last week go to 3. No, I'm not mentioning them. You'll have to find them yourself. I do not want to be responsible. I just wanted to start with that. But on the other end of the spectrum, have you ever heard of Metsera? I haven't. It was an $18 IPO in February. They were bought out today at a 60% move today. They were bought out by Pfizer. They have no sales. Pfizer is buying them, I think, for about $6 billion with no sales. Obviously, they're making a bet that whatever they do is going to work out very good. By the way, there was a 10 million share short position in that stock going into today. In other words, whoever's short drank a lot of tequila today because they lost their butts. So again, we've seen no sales stocks fly. We've told you we've seen a bunch of no sales biotechs bought out throughout the years. We just want to make sure you know, from our studies of history, we're starting to see some pretty damn good froth. By the way, MTSR being bought out for $47.50 per share in cash, but the stock closed at 53. Huh. Oh, there's some things tied to it also. Anyway, that's the skinny on that. Up next, NVIDIA, news, Apple, stuff. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge. Okay. So earlier today, market had a decent tone. Nothing spectacular. The Dow finished up 66 today. At 12:02, came across my little thingamabob here. NVIDIA and OpenAI announced a letter of intent for a landmark strategic partnership. And I'm going to read it to you, but I don't have a clue what the hell it means. To deploy at least 10 gigawatts of NVIDIA systems for OpenAI's next-generation AI infrastructure to train and run its next generation of models on the path to deploying superintelligence. To support the partnership, NVIDIA intends to invest $100 billion in OpenAI progressively as each gigawatt is deployed. Well, maybe it's me, but it sounds like that NVIDIA is going to give OpenAI billions to buy NVIDIA chips. I could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like. Here's what juiced NVIDIA stock. The CEO, Jensen Huang, tells CNBC that today's news is additive to everything in terms of guidance it has given already. Additive on top of. So NVIDIA, which has been dormant since earnings, and I just been sitting there watching, boom, just popped up, finished up $6.70 today, which is a good move for NVIDIA. I gather my good buddy Gil Morales would call this a pocket pivot with volume. A move through 180, a move through today's highs, which was a little bit above a few weeks ago's highs, and it goes higher. Duh. And what did that do? I can tell you that here's symbols. CEG, GEV, VST, EME, FIX, AGX, VRT, NBIS. And that's enough. These are all kind of the data center, building construction of the data center, energy type stuff, stocks, all had good moves today. And I will tell you, it is news driven, but I will tell you, it really looks set up for higher prices going forward. I wish the move was not on any news, but it was. So just letting you know. Those symbols, we're not telling you to buy, sell, short, or cover. We're just letting you know the very good setups, and if NVIDIA can bust above range, it's going higher. Next, Apple. Well, I must tell you, I must admit something. I love admitting things of my foibles. Notice the big words. On Friday, Apple made this technical move that I should have bought, but I didn't. It was up another 11 today. It is being announced, or the thought process, and Apple's not arguing. Apple, their new phone, looks like there's some strong demand for the latest iPhone. So not only Apple on the move, but some of the suppliers also. By the way, Taiwan Semi being one of those. Cirrus Logic, Qorvo, and some of those names. So that helped the NASDAQ also. And let me just give you a little technical picture of Apple. It broke above the 241 and change on Friday, broke above the 250 back from February, and the old high was 260. I can never guarantee or ever promise anything here. I will say this. It feels like it's going to take out that 260 also. Very high volume Friday and today. Just letting you know. Also juiced off of the AI Oracle. Remember that gapped up big time? I think on Friday I said to you it looked like it did some defense after pulling back from the gap. Up $19 today to 327 with volume. So definitive buying in that space. What else? Tesla. So in case you didn't know, they had the Charlie Kirk Memorial in Arizona yesterday. And Elon Musk was sitting with the president. And I will tell you that there are people out there saying they hired people that read lips, and they were saying to each other nice things and good that you're here, I missed you. So Tesla's up $9 today. But you know Tesla broke above range at 360. It's 435. The old highs is 488. Probably going there with their crappy numbers. And why would it go there? Robo-taxis. What did we say before? Robo-taxis, drones, quantum computing, nuclear. So Tesla on the move also. And if Tesla and Apple and NVIDIA are on the move, well, the NASDAQ up 157 today. Need I say more? And then also the semiconductor. Strong move in those equipment makers again. Applied Materials, Lam Research, KLAC, ASML Holdings. And Teradyne, I didn't see any news today, but it got upgraded today. That was up a juicy 10%, and that's been a weaker name. So the semiconductors, again, strong. Again. Nice. The big indices. Good day. And then gold. We bought the 18-week breakout. We were talking to you about it every single day on when it broke out. We told you about it. The breakout was 318. We bought it. We thought it was going to break out. We paid 314 and change, and we were going to buy more, moving above 318. And on that Tuesday, they gapped it up, so we didn't. It's 345 already. Few weeks. The gold miners and Fuego. So big bull market going on in gold here. In spite of the fact the many are now talking about it. So good day. Except these following areas up next on this the one only Investor's Edge. And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. In late breaking news, hey, Jimmy Kimmel's going to be back on the air tomorrow night. Yay! What happened to this world, by the way? That all these stupid things matter. I couldn't give a crap. So ABC's putting him back on. Good. Terrific. Hope he does well. He should just have a show on MSNBC, though, because all he does is rip the Republicans. But whatever. By the way, I had mentioned the Charlie Kirk thing. And as I said, I never met him, don't know anything about him. I used to see him on TV every now and then. About, I think, 8-9 months ago, I was on Instagram, because on Instagram, you know what I look for? I look for Bobby Flay and other people that cook. and workouts. And it just so happened that one of his videos came up where he's in a tent and he's debating students. And I had no idea he was doing that. I had an idea what Turning Point was. Anyway, I loved the videos. And believe me, I disagreed with half the things he had to say. Easily half the things. But I loved the conservative part of him. The good conservative part. But there's some things let me put it better. There's certain things I don't think what's the necessity? If you're conservative, you're supposed to live and let live, right? Why comment on every person, every type, you get my point. Anyway, I love the debates. They were, 3 or 4 minutes long they showed, and they had some doofuses come up. They had some other people come up, curses, living hell out of the guy, and he just sat there with a smile on his face. But I loved the interactions, and we should have more of that. That's why I say on this show, email me, just be nice, because I'm going to respect you back unless you like Hamas. So I thought it was terrific. I wish more people do it. And, of course, some stupid, cowardly piece of crap murdered him. So I'm on an airplane flying back, and, I'm watching football and switching back and forth. And then his wife came on, and I broke down in tears at my seat watching this young lady forgive the murderer. I broke down. I couldn't believe it. I wouldn't forgive him. In fact, if I was in the courtroom, I'd jump over the table and kick his you-know-what. But I just thought that was one of the more powerful moments I've seen in a very long time. Powerful. Imagine some piece of crap person did that. And you forgive him. Anyway, just letting you know. We segue again. Other stuff. We want to remind you about the hot IPOs. Do you know StubHub just came public? It was a $23.50 deal. They opened it up this is 3 or 4 days ago. They opened it up at $27.89. It's $17.40 now. Just letting you know. At this price, it's a $6.5 billion market cap. And it's showing they lose money 3 out of the last 4 quarters. So our little theme on be careful of hot IPOs continues, this being the latest. What we have stated to you is they've been opening these initial public offerings hot, and they're just crumbling. And this is the latest. We hope you have listened. We're watching other IPOs come out, and we'll let you know if that changes. We're also noticing a lot of the IPOs that are coming out are money losers. They lose money. If they continue to lose money, when we go into another bear market, they will all crash also. Based on precedent. We'll keep you advised, and also, of course, we'll let you know if the market gets in big trouble. How's that? But StubHub is the latest. That's all I can tell you. Quite interesting. 27 and change down to 17. By the way, in 4 days. So the people who did that deal are probably getting a talking to. But they don't care. As long as they get the deal done, they get their big fees and everybody's happy camper. Yay. So going into tomorrow, we're going to be watching these AI setups, starting with NVIDIA, which I was hoping to stay dormant for a while. The data centers, the constructor of data centers, the energy of them, they're all setting up right now for a further move, as quite the few popped off the 50-day moving average today like a trooper. Now, I did want to repeat on the NVIDIA. Back in 99, you had a bunch of this, just so you know. You know what that is? You cut deals, you give a bunch of money to somebody or lend a bunch of money to somebody and they buy your stuff. They call it vendor financing, if I do recall. We're going to do some investigating on that. Something you really don't want to see. But for today, pretty darn good day. One of the bad ones today is Meta. Got hit for a little bit in that TikTok. Some deal is cut, and I guess Oracle's going to be part of it, and this was going to be part of it, and that's going to be part of it, and the algorithm will stay here, so China couldn't do this and do that. They were never. I even said this on TV Friday. There's no way in hell any politicians getting rid of TikTok. There are so many businesses on there and a lot of young voters. I mentioned earlier, housing stocks, another bad day because interest rates ticked up a little bit more. I have to tell you, a lot of retail stocks act like the south end of a northbound jackass. I have to tell you, I believe I mentioned recently, I thought some of the travel-related was getting in trouble. They're topping them out. I notice Hilton is topped out. I notice Hyatt is topped out. I notice Marriott topping out. I notice, let's see, is it Alaska Air? Alaska Air topped out. How's SkyWest topped out? How's the big ones? United still looks okay. Delta, little topped out. And American topped out. So some of these travel related, and a reminder on food and beverage. Bear market. We've been warning you about the food and beverage. And now tobacco is getting hit too. These are the consumer staple areas. And if you go look at something called XLP, that's the ETF for staples. Not good. Up next, whatever else we have in store. Oh, and NBC. Yeah, NBC. NBC. By the way, the next time I tell you something is an 18-week tight range-bound action and then it breaks out, go look at it. The GLD has gone from 318 to 345. 1, 2, 3 weeks. The gold miners, I mean, holy crap. Breakout was at $55. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. 55 to 74 gold miners. And the clue was they broke out while the gold was sitting. And as we have said to you, miners leading is usually bullish scenario. Now, I'm asked 1,000 times right now, is it a worrisome sign what gold is doing? Here's my answer. So far, no. But watch the 10-year yield. Do you know, ever since the Fed lowered rates, we've not had a down day on yields? Interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, we love doing other things here. We do lots of the market, lots of the economy, and if we have to do full markets, we do that also. But there's so much crap going on, we just have to, we like warning you. As you know, we're in nobody's tank. We're not Republican, we're not Democrat, we're not Whig Party. We're none of that. We're tired of all of them. But we're really tired of the media. Let me explain what they did today. And we say this because we just want you to remember, because a lot of people get their information from these people and they believe it's, in my world, the emes, the truth. But they're a horror show these days. Let me explain one thing that happened this morning. The Today Show. It's they do some news and then they bring on celebrities and then they have a food part and all that stuff. But they did a story today in a man walked into a wedding, a country club, and shot the place up. Killed somebody in New Hampshire. The local news interviewed the man, an eyewitness that explained that the man, the murderer, yelled out, "Free Palestine." The Today Show reporter played the interview and cut it off before the person who was interviewed said that the man yelled out, "Free Palestine." The reporter never mentioned the Free Palestine part. We just want you to remember these little things. We are nothing more than their marks if we let them. They don't care about us. They lie all the time only because they do take sides. It would not have fit their template if they would have reported the Free Palestine. They actually cut the interview off because I don't need to go further. We just want you to remember this going forward. We want you to remember when 10 million people were allowed in on purpose, they never reported it. Never reported on Biden. And 6 months before the election, when the poll numbers for Biden were worse than root canal and jock itch on immigration, Biden had to pivot. And he got the media to go on and interview Biden people and blame the Republicans for the 10 million people coming in. Even though for the 4 years Biden had said the border's secure. Everything's fine. And then when things got out of hand, said, there's nothing I can do about it. The media covered it. They covered Hunter Biden. Total corruption of the family. We want you to remember this. We want you to remember the climate scam. Has anybody ever asked Al Gore how 20 some odd years ago he said we had 10 years or else, even though the earth was 4.5 billion years old? Do you think anybody has asked him how he's worth $200 million and how did he make it? You think they did? You think they're going to? No. They take sides. And we're not talking opinion people. We're talking the anchors and reporters, the people that are supposed to just report the news, not make up the news. So here we have it again, where they had to go in their little production meeting this morning, and they were told to cut the part of the interview where the guy said the murderer yelled out, "Free Palestine," and they told the reporter, "Do not bring that up." We just want you to remember this as we roll forward, because they don't care about you. We do. And all we ever ask for is the freaking truth. Just the freaking truth. That's all we want. Nothing more, nothing less. That's why we call out Trump. That's why we called out Biden. That's why we called out Obama. That's why we called out Bush. Because we don't care about anybody. We just want good policy and the truth. What a concept, huh? Hey, you all have a great evening. Drive carefully. Let's see if NVIDIA can bust out tomorrow. That would be pretty darn good going forward. When you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Stay well. Be well. Really appreciate you listening. Good night, all. Bye-bye.